Yes.
but not necessarily because at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I would not look at the sun.
Right.
I would look at it at 8 a.m.,
Right.
7:30 when it comes up, but I would not look at it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Exactly.
So I will keep the same format
Yes.
for tomorrow. I will be in the energy and the flow and the downpouring of it.
Yes.
But I have no desire to look at God's work at that moment in that time.
Ashe. Thank you. And with that, with what you shared, um, I recommend that since it is such an auspicious day, if you don't usually wake up and be with sunrise as it's happening, as all the colors are coming up in the sky. And it's actually, I noticed that at sunrise and sunset, that actually you see the colors of the rainbow, of the spectrum. It gives the Roy G. Biv situation. I was like, oh my gosh, like thinking that we only saw that with rainbows, but if you observe and sunrises and sunsets, it emerges that way as well, and that does something to us. So tomorrow, on such an auspicious day, that will be a wonderful time to observe, sitting with sunrise and sunset on this day. So thank you for that reminder, grandmother. And I love the reverence, because we as indigenous people, we just have a different relationship with nature and with God's work. And we are not as much voyeurs of it as much as we are honorers of it, right? And so we just have different principles that we abide by. And that's why it's wonderful to be about the business of decolonizing our minds so that we can get these other people's ways of doing things up out of us and off of us. Um, righty, just letting someone in. So yes, and anything about that, Mama Ayana? It's no pressure, but just want to give a moment if you want to.
Yes, I just wanted to piggyback on what was just said because I'm in agreement. Um, when I was growing up, it was the same thing, no talking during thunder, no talking during certain periods because the energy was at its strongest point
Right.
of it itself.
Right.
And that our role in this is to always to be conscious, to be
Mhm,
consciously aware of what that which you're being conscious of.
mhm,
So if we're already in being conscious, even though this is important, but it's the consciousness to always remember that energy is always recreating more of itself out of itself.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Yes, yes. Ashe, Ashe. Yes. Okay. Thank you for that. And then, oh, I'm sorry. Did you have something else you were saying?
No, I'm finished. I just didn't know whether you heard me. My phone was going in and out, so I
It went
wasn't sure that
it
you.
went in and out just a little bit, but it was not so much that we couldn't grasp what you were saying. Am I correct? Like I got the gist of what okay, everyone. Okay. Yeah, we're shaking our heads. Yes. Yep. Yep.
Okay. All
Thank
right. Thank you.
you. Thank you. So, and as indigenous people, we always reverenced we the celestial happenings. We honored them, and then we also recorded them as well. Like, so some of the many monuments to our ways of recording and our sacred sciences as we interact with the divine, as it represents itself in nature. Many of them have been destroyed. But there are some that remain, and where we would just take, like against a rock, we would just etch out like where light hit this rock this particular time, and that's how we would mark it. And we have those here on occupied Turtle Island. This is not only in on the continent. It's not only the sundial in Mesoamerica in Mexico. It's not that these things have been being extracted and destroyed and covered up also on this very territory, this beautiful land that we are living on. So these are things that are not new to us, to actually stop and to honor and to pay attention and to record and to 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 also feel inward what shifts we experience along with these things. And we know that to be the case, that we recorded these things because we have a whole system of astrology that our ancients, they mapped that. They mapped that and I mean, you have to pay attention to how the heavens affect people over a long period of time to notice these kinds of patterns, and how when this planet is at this angle, it affects people in this way. We noticed. I mean, like, what? That's a lot of data and information to be interacting with, to be studying, and then to be compiling, and then to be right. So, but we have that. And so um so I want to touch on, I don't want to get away from something I said in a post earlier. Okay, talking about how the alignment of celestial bodies affects how energy is experienced on those heavenly bodies. That makes sense. It makes sense because there is electromagnetism. There is electromagnetism, gravity. These forces are pulling and pushing and being felt, and light energy, and which is also like a form of like radiation. But these are all forces that have these are all energies that have force with them, and so movement is happening. And so with respect to the seismic things that can happen, where there are things like earthquakes and even floods and stuff like that, it's because the various ways that the heavenly bodies are oriented affect the way the elements are interacting with each other. And there is so when we know that the tides and whatnot, that the moon and its orientation to the earth and the sun affects how the tides and the waters are, and us being womb people, right? We know how that affects us with our menses and stuff like that. So also those same kinds of energies pulling on the waters that are under the earth, right? So then stuff can start to get unearthed and start happening. And also with the electricity and magnetism pulling on the minerals and metals that are inside of also those pieces of earth, right? So that's what can have the whole pieces move also, not by necessarily the water, but by like the air and ether, right? Pulling. And so these things, yes, throughout time there has been noticing of how these kinds of celestial events affect the earth. And there have been things like, of course, floods and earthquakes and stuff like that. Um and so that does give us a moment for pause and for reverence, right? When there is big shift. But also, as within, so without. So these things that are happening big out here are also happening big in here with us, right? And as we were taught in the nation, it was like, who makes rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes? And the answer was the original man. So we actually had a doctrine that said that we are not only subject to the various ways that the planets are doing what they're doing, but that we as extensions of the divine can also have something to do with influencing them. Now, that is a way different perspective than what probably the majority of people have on the planet, but That's very empowering. But most of us probably know of our like grandmothers praying for something for us that had to do with the weather, and then it actually happening or not happening, right? Like we're on our way somewhere and she's praying that it doesn't rain because we don't want to, and then it doesn't rain. Like we have experienced things like this where seeming so-called just human beings have seemingly affected things that have to do with that are supposed that are natural, that are nature supposedly only under quote unquote nature's purview, but as if we're not nature, right? So with that, what that brings to mind for me, and I'm going to pause and just and take a moment to see if anybody wants to has anything to just something you just want to say, but there we so just as there is a forecast for weather, and we have an opportunity to say, okay, um so I know it's going to rain, or they say it's going to rain, or I can tell, then I can put on rain boots, I can put on a rain jacket, right? So that way I'm out in the elements, but they're not necessarily on me. So that's what we have the opportunity to do based on the fact that our ancients have recorded things, and we now have these cycles that we can kind of count on, and we know that they're coming. So where people who were unawares or did not know these things, then darkness just fell upon the land, and then they had to just that was a surprise to them. With us, we get the opportunity to know that this is coming, and so we can prepare ourselves for how we would like to experience this imminent temporary moment of darkness within the light of a day, right? And so this is it's when we are dealing with our indigeneity, there is actually more, it's more connection to Mother Gaia, but also the complete picture of it, we also are more empowered. We're more empowered, and then we're not going through our journey in this dimension as if we are constantly the victims of something. We are seeking to be in harmony with nature and work in concert with nature, and also we understand that our prayers and the things that are the wishes of our hearts, that nature also wants to yield to that too. I mean, there's something to be said for the prayers of the righteous. We know that as melanated people, we believe in that. And I'll pause there for a second and just see if anybody has anything you want to say.
I'd like to expand on what you said about us being in companionship with nature.
Yes, ma'am.
I had gone to the Gathering of Nations in New Mexico.
Mhm.
It's a powwow where people come from everywhere to celebrate our culture. And while I was there, my daughter introduced me to a young man from the Huma tribe, and he was from a Pueblo people. He
Mhm.
invited us to a ceremony
Mhm.
on top of the mesa.
Mhm.
And in that ceremony, the elders made it snow, they made it hail, they made it rain, they made windstorms come, and all they did was change the song. So they showed me in real time the relationship that indigenous people that we have with nature. What you said is true. Not only like we have a relationship with nature, but we are nature ourselves.
Yes.
And when you tap into the sound
Mm.
of the otherworldly, then you become cousins, you become sisters and brothers, you become mothers and daughters with all that is in the universe.
Mm. Yes. Sound. Thank you for bringing up sound, because these harmonics, right, and the vibrations and the frequencies are an important part of also what is going on, that's generating that what's happening, and also what comes from what's happening as well. So So I'm going to kind of mix some things up and just say that keeping our vibrations high, especially during this time, is really important. And why is it important? Because there is, when there's a literal, us as indigenous people, when something is literal, we'd be like, okay, that's literal. Like when it literally is going to be dark, okay, well then it's literally going to be darkness. You know, it's going to be like, it's not, that's not hard to figure out. So the kind people are already feeling a shadow over their like mood already. It's already been happening, right? So the the so this darkness, this moment of darkness, this how do we relate to darkness? How do we relate to shadows? How do we try to keep what is in the shadows hidden and just try act and just ignore it and then just hope that it just don't get us? You know, like, do we think that things that are in the shadows and things that are in the darkness are all bad? Then that is probably going to speak to how we relate to our own, you know, like our own unconscious and subconscious materials. Um, so this is oh, and then there is an account which I did share in a post earlier of a time when, now I'm sure there are many more accounts that we people who look like us have made about happenings going on during eclipses. Now, those things may not be either so available or just so they're probably well documented and they're somewhere. So as a result of what's happening tomorrow, now I am interested in seeing what more people that look like us have to say about the things that have gone on during these kinds of times. But this particular example is from an article from like an air and space type of magazine website, and it's talking about the fact that during a solar eclipse in the like 11th century, that there was the death of a king, and then there when the solar eclipse happened, that they talked about that there was a hideous darkness and that it agitated the hearts of men, and the country was thrown into chaos and civil war. Now, what I will say about that is that um what we have that to refer to, right? We have that, and we can feel, people can feel themselves. And I've been talking about this like with my dad and with other people, where it's just like we've been like feeling ourselves like sometimes like feeling this like slight like not wellness, like mentally not feeling like something feeling right now. The sorry, I'm just checking to make sure the one's trying to get in. Okay. So what do we do with momentary darkness? Because guess what? That momentary darkness did not draw something out of people that wasn't already there. Can I get a amen? Can I get an amen and a high five? So, so when we are not, when we are making an enemy and we're not of our darkness and not communing with it, not getting to know it, not seeking to heal it, love it, and alchemize it, then it becomes something that is out of our maybe that's operating in a rogue way, and then can be taken advantage of and taken in the way like that. But what if we what if we made friends with it? What if we investigated what goes on with our own darkness? What if we held it in the light, right? Instead of shoving it in the basement, right? So let me check and see what grandmother is saying here. Um, okay. The nation in New Mexico that were at the one with the weather, were okay, the Akuma. Okay, not the Homa, the Akuma. Thank you, Mama. And she said she met the Homa in, okay, you met the Homa in Louisiana, but these were the Akuma. Okay, thank you, Mama. So, so yes. So what is, we can see right now that it is, we're due for something to be shook up. Huh, what? We're due for that. So this that caused what threw this land into chaos and civil war. So it doesn't have to necessarily be that, but something needs to change. Something needs to change. And this stuff that has been done hidden and behind closed doors is no longer going to be able to be done like so. And whatever way that people have been sitting pretty as they've been abusing power, they should go crazy. They should, there's a time and a place for everything, a time and a place for everything. And there's a use for everything. Darkness has its own, has its use. The us being in the womb in the triple darkness, and how we put a seed into Mother Earth and how she does what she does out of our sight, and makes magic happen, and then yields back to us that which sustains us. That's the darkness, that was done in the darkness. And so um that is something that is there. That's something that's there for me, and that's something that's been happening and that I've been integrating in my own life. Because, and also the fact that at the bottom of the ocean, how the sea life that's there then takes on this this bioluminescence, and it's like it glows in the dark. So that's what we want to be. We want to be the light in the darkness, right? And then even in our own dark materials, have the light of our consciousness. And then sometimes we need some help, some backup and stuff. So we have our guides, we have our ancestors, our honored ancestors, our elevated ancestors, and the spirits that roll with us to go with us to some of these dark corners, so, and to help us contend what's there, and be able to heal it, and grow and evolve what is dark, to evolve it into its highest form. So and then in another example, there was where there were warring tribes, and they actually saw the eclipse as an omen that they should have a truce, and to bring peace. That's what they saw it as. And that, so look at how this same kind of event, in one case, drove men crazy in the darkness of the heart and civil war and blah blah blah. And then in another case, it's, oh, we should stop this war and have a truce. So it kind of sounds like it's up to our hearts as to how we'll make use of the various energies that are presented to us. And I'll pause there and see if anybody has anything to say. Okay. Also there is, so it's interesting because the planet Chiron, which is known as the wounded healer. So in your chart, your Chiron is going to talk about an area of your life where, or of your being, where you may have felt suppressed when you were younger, and then had some kind of trials and tribulations for being suppressed in that. But then as you mature, there's a healing in that area, and then that becomes an area that you are actually exemplifying as something that you're upholding, that you healed from, and then others uh learn and are positively influenced about the fact that they could heal that in them by your example. So that's the wounded healer. And so it's very interesting that is exactly that Chiron, and I'm going to show you an image of that Chiron is exactly conjunct this 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 eclipse. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Hold on just a second. I'm going to share my screen first. I'm going to go to my okay, hold on, y'all. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. So come back to you all and then go back here and share my screen. Where'd that go? Share screen. All right. Okay, where'd it go? How come I don't see it? Whiteboard, iPhone. Photos, here we go. Okay. Okay, can you all see my screen? Okay. All right. So you all can see my, why is that there? No. All right. Hold on. Why is that there? Can you all, maybe you all can't see it. Let me minimize this. You can see the astrology chart?
Yes, we see the circle, we see the wheel, and then we see the little bar on the side.
Okay, because yeah, there's something here that is somehow it's like okay, all right. So so I wanted to just give you all this information so you could know this. So a solar eclipse takes place during a new moon. However, there is a nuance with the new moon that's associated with the eclipse because something called the node of the moon is right there with the new moon when it happens. See this thing that looks like a horseshoe right here? So that's called the lunar node. And the lunar node being near the new moon is what makes that is astrologically what makes it an eclipse. And it's very interesting. And I have to just even learn more about why that is and what that means, because when it's this arrangement, then the way that the moon is aligned with the sun and the earth makes for these eclipses, where otherwise when this node is further away from these new moons and full moons, then you don't get eclipses. So I have to just, and when I looked up some things about that, it seemed like it seemed like it was kind of mysterious to others as well. So when I know more, I'll definitely share more. But you see these 19s, right? Y'all can see those, right? You see those 19s? So the sun is right here at 19 degrees and 24 minutes. You see that 1924, and then you see the moon at 1924. But look at how Chiron, right here, this K in the middle, even though Chiron is spelled Chiron, Chiron is at 19 and 24. It's exactly, we could call that conjunct this eclipse. And so, and what's interesting about this, grandmother Walson Water, is that the North Node in Aries is the spiritual, remember that, the Native American warrior degree. That's very interesting. It's very interesting because this configuration, okay, so with Chiron being there, Chiron in Aries is like having a scar where we don't feel good being who we are. Chiron in Aries is like a scar on the sense of self, a scar on being oneself, being comfortable with oneself, being allowed to be oneself, being allowed to take up space. That is what Chiron in Aries is. And so then for this eclipse to be happening with this configuration, it really, what it speaks to, because new moons are new cycles, right? The new moon occurs, and the new moon is we call it the dark moon. That's what we call the new moon, the dark moon, because the moon is not visible during a new moon. It's invisible. And so we talk, so more of this darkness piece, but that's also where the richness is. And this is, and just like it's dark in the mother's womb where the child is gestating, this darkness is rich, this new moon darkness. And and this is a new cycle beginning. And so this new cycle happening with this Chiron here exactly conjuncted is the implication is getting free from that which it's an opportunity to get free from that which has been suppressing our selfhood. And what that speaks to, it looks like on a personal level, we know what that looks like in terms of just allowing ourselves to express who we are and be who we are and to take up space on the planet, and let alone in our own lives, right? But then when we look at the fact that we're in the age of Aquarius, right? So we're in the humanitarian era. Then what this looks like is, this looks also like the people who have been being suppressed, being released, and or taking this and releasing themselves from the grips of that which has kept them other than themselves, or in whatever forms that has taken. Does that make sense? And I'll take a pause in case anybody else wants to say something.
I had a quick question. You said it's like getting free from what has been suppressing our
Selfhood.
selfhood. That's what I missed. Okay, thank you.
I'm over here. I'm making up words. I mean selfhood. Yeah.
Selfhood is a word. That's good. That's
Okay,
good.
cool. The doctor of English education, hip hop scholar, feminist has approved of it, and I'm going with it.
You're good.
I'm going with it. So, so then with the North Node, with the North Node being conjunct, obviously it's not as tightly conjunct because the North Node is here at 15, and where those other ones are exactly touching each other. This one is 4 degrees away, but that's still conjunct in our book, right? Because as long as it's within 7 or 8 degrees, we call it conjunct. And so when we talk about the Native American warrior, that's interesting. That's interesting. So it sounds like it sounds like revolution. It sounds like that. Sounds like revolution. It sounds like the indigenous shaking free of that which has been oppressing and suppressing us. And there was something else about, and then the number 19. These are at the 19th degree. There is something very magical and esoteric, and that relates to the I was going to say the omnipotence of the woman. I don't know. That's what just that is hidden in the number 19. And Mother Tainetta, one of the mystic matriarchs of in the Nation of Islam, she wrote the column on she wrote the ongoing column in the Final Call newspaper regarding the esoterics. It was actually called the number 19. I don't know all the ins and outs about the various things. I had another sister that I invited to be on the call that is very in the know about that, but suffice it to say that this 19 degrees that this eclipse is happening at, along with Chiron being there, along with the fact that this is the Native, I'm saying Native American warrior, but I hope you all understand that when I say that, I mean us. When I say that, I don't mean people from, I don't mean people other than us. I'll just say that, which is important also because with Aries, that Chiron in Aries also speaks to a identity that has been stolen. Chiron in Aries is exactly a stolen identity, a suppressed identity. And so this moment is a moment that where we get to, we should we really ride the wave of what's available, what this is making available, then we are accepting, embracing, and expanding and marching and moving forward in our indigeneity, in our who we really are. This is the get free, decolonize, re-indigenize yourself, ourselves moment. This is like this is the beginning. So yes, we have been on a particular train. You've seen the momentum, the things that are being found right here on this land. That's like, oh, actually the same stuff that we attribute only to being on the continent, oh, that stuff is actually here. So something's happening. But what this right here that's happening in this year of the dragon, in an 8-year, this right here is the beginning of something even more that we are walking into, that's living through us, that will be undeniable in the earth. And this particular way that it's, and isn't it interesting that this eclipse is how it's most visible over Turtle Island? I mean, that just, all that says is that it's the divine just focusing that energy on this land, that is the land where the people need and are ready to be free. Because we had to say no in order to say yes to our indigeneity. We have to say no to so many things that the colonizer has impressed upon our minds, that sometimes we are not aware is operating in us, these recessive ways of thinking. Yeah, so I'm gonna pause there because I think an elder probably has something to say, and I'm gonna close my drapes. I can't believe nobody had nothing to say. Okay, so oh, and then another auspicious piece to this is that, so we have Aries. Oh, there's several. Okay, now I'm like, okay, wait, there's several auspicious pieces. Let me check my time. Okay. So are you all good? Because I'm very nerding out on this, and are you all fine? Can you just give me like a hand up or something? Let me know you're good. This is I can't see. Did anybody do something? Okay, I got thumbs ups. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for playing along. Appreciate you. Okay, okay. All right, awesome. So see, because that's the kind of presenter I am. You know what I mean? I check in with my audience, not just over here, just standing on soapboxes, talking at boxes. You know what I mean? So so something else that is very interesting about this moment is the fact that so we have Aries. Aries is a fire sign that is ruled by the planet Mars. Okay. Aries is and so and here the planet Mars is in the sign of Pisces. So Pisces, we equate, so we say Mars is Ogun or Ganesha, and then with we say Aries and Mars are Ogun and Ganesha, and then Pisces is like Olokun. So we're talking about deep water stuff. And so that what's interesting about that is that it really seems as though these things that have mostly seemingly been confined to land in terms of the quote unquote wars. You see how there's this trend where there's this stuff is going on over water more so. Do y'all see that? Y'all see that happening, right? I mean, even when we talk about the ships trying to get over to Palestine, and with our family in Yemen are doing to them, just like hijacking their stuff, just hijacking those ships up, and then with bridges and ships and stuff, just water stuff. There's big water stuff is going on. Now, see y'all. Now I'm looking at a bunch of boxes, a bunch of I can't tell what's going on in the audience because I can't see your faces. If you're not naked or or totally preoccupied, it would be amazing if I could interact with your faces. That'd be awesome. Um, so that is an interesting piece as well. And I've mentioned Baba Ogun. So Aries is correlates with Baba Ogun, who is the god of iron. And so we're talking about forms of nature. That's what Orisha spirits are. That's how we do. We interact with nature. We personify nature. And so the spirit of iron, the spirit of yes, the spirit of war, but of course it's righteous war. He's the spirit that is also the spirit of the forest, and so the spirit of um uh he deals with healing, which is not always known, healing and surgery and things like that. And Baba Ogun, he's not a he's mostly like reclusive. He's doing what he's doing in the woods, in the forest. And it's interesting with it also, with us bringing in this Pisces and Olokun energy, because of Aries' planetary ruler being in Pisces. So then we talk about the other kind of reclusive energy that's in the ocean. So, and now there also is a path of Ogun that is the Ogun of the ocean as well. But nonetheless, if it's in your practice to work with, and you have these energies at your, you already are interacting with, these are ones that you might propitiate, that you might say prayers to, that you might give offerings to, um, and um, and uh, and so you might work with smoky quartz, which is a crystal that Baba works with. Now, what I will say is that for this event that's about to happen, this is not the kind of event that you need to be like all like, oh my goodness, about like doing what you're going to be doing in terms of a ritual or whatever. This is not what is good to be doing, is to be staying clean and clear and keeping yourself in good spirits, and keeping your vibes high. And then I'll pause for a moment and let oh wait, I got people talking in the chat. No. Okay. Okay. Oh, grandmother, you gave me the hand clap. I don't know what we was clapping about. All right. Um, oh, okay. Somebody said, okay, Turtle Island is the occupied so-called United States. I didn't see your question. Okay. Um,
I was clapping about
oh,
the
yes.
fact that I'm thoroughly enjoying the way you teach.
Thank you. Yeah.
I want a ditto on that.
Oh, thank you. Who said that? See, I can't see. I don't know what's going on.
Clarity, Mama Yana.
Oh, listen, the mamas, the mamas approve. The rest of y'all, listen. Oh, no, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Oh, thank you, mamas. Oh, bless y'all. I'm honored to be standing on you all's shoulders. honored. So Ogun, so okay, so don't be, you don't have to be all like, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that. This is the new moon is an undynamic moment. It when all the planets are like when the sun and the moon are at the same degree, then that is not that is nothing like when the sun is over here and the moon is over here, and now there is between them, right? When they're on together, this is a quiet and solemn moment. Okay, so what we want is to be now it is in a rigorous fire sign. Yes, that is true. But there is what comes to mind is like a sacred movement. What comes to mind is a beautiful like soaking in a bath. What comes to mind is something like what grandmother said earlier, which was a yoni steam. You know, that kind of touches on the water thing that we spoke of, and then the herbs with Ogun, you know, the water with Olokun and the herbs with Ogun, but you know, like that whole thing. And then I'll pause because I know that some on here have an idea of ways that they are going to observe tomorrow with the elders, and maybe you could share that with us, and then and then we'll know. And I'll stop sharing this.
I'm going to continue to remain silent.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
To
You said you're going to continue to
be silent.
Yes, ma'am.
Every day I find moments of silence. Of course, I'll be more consciously aware of these but being tomorrow is a continuation of the practice that I do every day, and that is to be still and to connect myself with all life, because we all are universe within ourselves. So,
right.
Tomorrow I'll just be more aware, maybe, but just being conscious and continuing to remain conscious and aware of what's really going on.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Silent, being still, and being consciously aware. Got it. Thank you, Mom. And grandmother, you want to share how you?
Sorry, I'll be juice fasting tomorrow.
Juice fasting.
Yeah, it's not a hard fast. It's not an intense fast. It's an easy fast, a flowing fast with juice.
Okay, sounds good. And you say you're gonna be outside with your feet in the earth.
Yeah, I'll be working with my plants tomorrow, planting my seeds. It's a new moon, so I'll be planting my food, my broccoli and collard greens and my kale. And like Mama Yana said, and being in silence with nature, and you know, having as little to do with digestion as possible. Allow my body just to be still.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. Yes. And also I recommend, since this is so it's a new moon, so it's a dark moon, meaning undynamic, quiet. New moons are usually quiet. But we know that this new moon could feel like a full moon, given that it's happening alongside an eclipse and that it's in a fire sign. So something that I would recommend also that you do is drawing and coloring. So serious. Drawing, coloring, vision boarding. You can be vision boarding. Something that grandmother Walks on Water said earlier, which is not dragging anything from the past into this meditative, powerful, potent moment. Anything, not dragging anything. Mama, did you mean anything from the past period or anything from the past that has inhibited you that was negative, or just what did you, I'll let you expound on what
You know, sometimes when you are doing deep breathing or meditating, memories will pop in your mind from the past. And you have to say to them, not now, honey. Go and scoot to the side. I'm doing something else. So making a decision tomorrow that there are some things that could just ease out of your life now. There are some things you can open your hands and let go of.
Yes, Ashe. And thank you for that. I think it is dark. It's dark where I am now, and at nightfall, I like to do something I call sacred sunset circle. And even though this is now nightfall, so obviously that's later than sunset. But when it's dark outside, I go around the house, and as soon as it gets dark, I go around the house and I turn all the lights off so that I can experience the darkness as it emerges. And this is what I do every single day. Now, in this practice, this devotion, this ritual, what this does is it also helps to calibrate my my hormones and chemicals to the shift as the life giver of our planet is moving out of view and we're moving into darkness. And when I turn the lights off and I ride that wave as it's happening, then I am I'm being in harmony with it, which is also what we're recommending, that tomorrow, that be out in nature when the eclipse is happening. You're not looking at it, but let the shift as it's happening, let your molecules be as available to the shift as possible. Does that make sense? So that you can harmonize with this shift. And that's also a good reason to collect rainwater when there is rain, because collecting it and then using it on our bodies, on our ori, because then we get to be with the energy of what brought that rain into being, and we can bring that into our being. Now, also going and being out in the rain, like I'll just go stand out in it, like put on bathing suit stuff and go be out in it. So that's another thing. But collecting it and then putting it on your ori, bathing with it, anything, just to interact with the element as the element is becoming what it's becoming, and through its various influences, and letting ourselves harmonize with that. And that's like getting back to nature. So I'm going to turn my light off so you're not going to see me for a moment. And maybe, well, what I usually do is I usually drum or chant when I'm in the few moments that I observe like this. And we happen to have an amazing we happen to have an amazing sound healer on the line with us. I don't know if you feel up to something. I can be using my hand drum, or if you have your singing bowl or your drum or something. Mama, do you feel up to chanting a little something for us while we're in the darkness for a moment?
Are you speaking to me, dear?
I was speaking to Grandmother Walks on Water.
Okay, I thought you were
But if you have an offering that you would like to make, we would be happy to also receive that. I wasn't aware.
Hey, oh, hey, 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 hey,
Greetings, Mama Marilyn. Welcome. We're just having a moment of quiet in the darkness. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Grandmother. Mama Ayana, did you want to share something?
No, I'm actually upstairs now, and everything's in the meditation room downstairs. So that was wonderful. What Mama did for us.
Yes, okay, okay. Yes, that was so wonderful. Thank you so much. Grandmother walks on water. So, so there was something that was just there. Okay, so bringing in also there, you may have heard of the fact that I don't know if you have, but that NASA is going to be shooting some rocket up into the dark side of the moon. Anybody hear that? That is what they're going to do at the moment of the eclipse?
Yeah, I heard.
Uh-oh, you were unmuted and then you you got muted, Mama Ayana.
I apologize. I'm having some issues on this end. But yes, I did get an email in reference to that.
Okay. Yeah.
Scientists are trying to do their thing,
Yes,
trying to fix things, figure out things, come up with their time frame.
right.
But in reading the email, yeah, they're going to try to do some manipulation in terms of coming up with the precise their time of what of these things. That's pretty much what I got out of it.
Right, right. Yeah, and that they are seeking to figure out some of the invisible energies that are influencing and impacting the earth. I don't know if that's exactly the what something like that is what I heard, but I think it's similar. And also what I heard is that they're also going to power up CERN at that moment as well. Does anyone, I'm sure you know what CERN is, Mama Ayana, and anyone else by show of hands know what CERN is? CERN. Okay. Okay, so Najma knows what CERN is. Okay. Um, okay, so CERN is this I wish I knew the size of it. I mean I could look it up, but it's a humongous hadron collider. It's a where something that European countries have gotten together, not only European, but no Black countries. It's an important note here. And it's like something like, I don't know, I'm just throw out a number. It's like, I don't know, 11 countries that have been in on the development of this thing. And it is, you know how, the show Stargate, that is exactly what it is. It is a Stargate, and it has been built. It is miles and miles long. It's somewhere Norwegian-ish, somewhere where it is. I'm sorry, I'm not speaking very intelligibly right now. But so um, and the purpose of it is just like how on the show Stargate, with them trying to figure out different time travel, different dimensions, and all that kind of stuff. And I remember a couple of years ago when they had powered it up. Do you remember that a couple years ago, it was during COVID, or towards the end of COVID, when there were all these strange animal attacks of humans? Y'all remember that? It was like And it's like they yes. So, and there, just to give you, because this is a class, I want y'all to have all the information, because here's the thing, this esoteric information is important, because guess what? You are not just flesh and bones. You are actually esoteric, like who you actually are. So if you felt like you were not interested in these things, I recommend you get interested, because the unseen is what is in control of the scene. So if you want to be interacting in the causal realm of things and not be just victim of stuff, but be in the driver's seat, at being a co-pilot with the divine, then you want to get interested in the esoteric nature of your own self, and then into the esoterics of the happenings, the broader happenings. Okay. So, I'm sorry. I feel like I was just, I was a fussy a little bit.
No, I think it's important. I'm glad you brought that up, because basically what they're trying to do is to recreate the Big Bang. They're
Mm,
just trying to see how everything was made, and they've been doing this research for a while. It is in Switzerland, and it's humongous. So people can pull it up. I've
yeah.
watched several videos on it. It's the CERN. It's one of the largest colliders
Yes. Yes.
made. And I mean, look at how huge this thing is. It's really, it's fascinating that they've been able to even create something
Right.
with the goal of is to study the interactions of high energy, the
Right.
neurons, how
Right.
this, all of this. So it's quite fascinating science. I'm not a scientific technical person in that regard, but it is worth checking out.
It definitely is. So I recommend do look into CERN. It's CERN. And it really literally looks like the Stargate on the TV shows and movies and stuff. It is that. And so let me tell you a little tidbit that I found out. I don't know when I found this out, but um that uh in the can somebody look up CERN and say, oh, you're looking at it, Mama Ayana. What year was it built?
I think it was 1954.
Is it? Is it that's when they began
Founded
building it? That's when they began building it?
founded in 1954, if I'm reading the right.
See, it's C.E.R.N, CERN.
Mm, this speaks of a laboratory where it's astride the Franco-Swiss border near Geneva,
Okay,
and
that
it's
sounds
a
that sounds
big where they're
mhm.
basically, like you said, trying to not to control, but understand the powerful particle
Yeah.
happenings in
Yes,
our
yes,
universe.
yes. And when was the can somebody tell me when, or I mean tell me as in look up, when was the internet, when was that? When was that
Mm,
like anybody see it? Like the year that it was
Like 92, but I can look up to see
okay,
when it was.
92. Okay. And what about email? Can anybody see
well, it says well, maybe it's the difference, 1983.
okay, you see 1983. Okay, what about email? Can somebody look at when email was developed? Because there's something about there's a connection. Um, when was email created? Anybody see it?
71.
Oh, 71. Okay, because I heard that email was developed. Number one, I heard that the internet was developed because of CERN.
Mm.
It was, and it was developed there somehow. And then also about email, because the campus of CERN is many, like scores of square miles big. I mean, I'm probably not saying that right. And so they needed a way to be able to communicate with each other, with like with all of the documents and all of the whatever among this campus. And that's where this stuff came from. Okay, somebody shared a file in the meeting. What you share? Is it to everyone? Okay. 1980. Okay, World Wide Web was released to the public, into the public domain. Okay. I want to say that either, somebody's coming back in who, that either it was the internet period or it was email, one of them, that it was developed for the purpose of CERN, and then it became something that was available to the public. But that makes sense, right? And it's because it had to, it's because of how organizationally, how they needed to communicate, probably not only amongst the engineers and scientists, but also amongst the heads of states of the other countries. I mean, of the countries that are in on and have paid for this thing as well. But so my point is that they are turning CERN on tomorrow during the eclipse, and firing rockets into the dark side of the moon. They do it so much. And what I am, so this is not about gloom and doom, obviously, because that's not where I'm coming from. I'm coming from Bliss, shifts, and the solar eclipse. That's what this is. But just as there was elders warned about like the Black Panther and going to go see that movie, when there was some kind of messaging and energy in there that was intentionally to impact especially the minds of us melanated people, and specifically the so-called Negro Black people, about our being vulnerable on the planet, because there was infiltration in that movie. And many of the elders were telling us, don't go and see it, because all of our energy focused on that, and feeling all the feelings associated with that infiltration that happened in that movie is they're harnessing our energy and doing some other kind of magic with it and using that energy. So don't take your focus and your energy lightly. You are just like in the Matrix, and how the people were the sources of the power and the energy. That is a thing. So let's take our own power and energy, and let's put it in the direction and toward the things that we want to build and create, and that are within our bliss. Because let me tell you this. So the elders said that, because that's a movie I would have wanted to go see. I did not go and see it. I haven't seen it to this moment. And do you know, my cousin who lives in Arizona called me. He's a couple years older than me. He called me after he left the movie because he just wanted to hear a loving family member's voice because of how he felt after having seen the movie. There are lots of people who were quite devastated with the emotional that went on in that movie. But I mean, so that being said, let's not let anything, and something that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. He said, "You will not be we will not fathom the depths of the devil, of the enemy, of the things that they could, like, look at what we're saying right now with 13,000 babies and children dead, and everybody going about life as usual." That's a depth. That's a depth. That's a depth. And that's an unfathomable depth right there that we are casually living through. So this don't be so don't be so whatever, don't be so afraid of darkness that you won't about fear, and ones who want to abuse power and are using darkness in malevolent ways that we won't make ourselves aware of where it's happening, so that we can combat that with our joy and with our intentionally focusing our energy in a productive way, as opposed to just being led by those that have shown that that they do not value our life force energy. So let's be responsible for our own experience. Because the same way that we now have governments that are abusing power, like how did they get there? There had to be a point where people was just like, oh, we don't feel like trying to get our own stuff and harvesting our own water and getting our own this and that. As we rebuild society, let's do this different. Because we can't just be like, okay, do it for me, and then be mad about how people do it. Like, I just don't think, I think there's more self-determination for us to have, and for us to we have given ourselves over to someone, and let's take ourselves back. Let's take ourselves back. Now, so I had other things that had to do with some prayers. So it's a wonder. So some ways of bringing in this. So we talked about in quiet and in silence and solitude, as the mama said. I have some notes somewhere, and and to honor and to revere, and to observe that moment with consciousness, and and to be silent, and to be still, and to be consciously aware, to fast in some way, so that our bodies are not having to deal with digestion, but are available to the light, to the light energy that is that will be resonant in our collective field tomorrow. And then working with plants and being working with the earth, and also drawing, coloring sacred symbols. Especially I have so mandalas and things like that. I have a symbol that I have been doodling, so to speak, since I was a child, that I call a joy splash. And just sitting and doing things like this, and letting the mind go, letting the body be occupied and the creativity be occupied in these ways that allow for the mind. It allows for spaciousness in the mind. Spaciousness is a great word. Spaciousness in the mind, and internal spaciousness. That's just like, wow. So, and so that, and also vision boarding. Although vision boarding can feel a little rigorous for this particular influence, but if you feel up to it, because it could feel like a little too mindy. I don't know, but it could. But so and then of course prayer. Okay, agreed that it feels a little mindy. Is that what you're agreeing to, Levita? Mama Levita? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so something that is a little more passive, but at the same time, like I'm saying, there is fire in this new moon moment, and then the fact that it's an eclipse, so you could feel some like that. So yes, we want to calm and we want to cool things, but sometimes heat needs to be allowed to have an avenue. And so that's where some sensual dancing and movement, where something else. Doing instruments, chanting, singing, and in your, with your prayers, given that this is and the Ogun and Ganesh, so and the Ganesh piece, then you can, if you, like I said, if you work with those deities already, then fantastic. Then you can, those will be where you're directing your prayers through. But even if not, you just praying that for the removal of obstacles, and praying that the way for your, for the highest and greatest good of you personally, to all your relations, and to the world, because this is when we talk about something that's not going to happen for 20 more years, now we're talking about global, far-reaching things. So yes, your cares do matter and your desires do matter. So those and the collective. Okay, so removal of obstacles, and to the spirit that removes obstacles, to the spirit that opens the way, the spirit that clears the path, and that opens the road. And then this extra piece that I love that Ganesh brings is sweeten the path. Ah, yeah. And sometimes what I pray when I'm dealing with these particular energies that are the removers of obstacles and the road, the way openers and stuff, I pray, I notice that there's also a thing that says, remove the obstacles that are unproductive to my destiny, because hello, I mean, anything can be used for good. So there are some places where there's something in the road, and it's a good thing that it's there, and that we have to stop right there for a moment. And that is it, there's something benevolent about that. So we want to make room for that, because and then we don't want to just an open road heading toward, off a cliff, right? So just being conscious in our oh, excuse me, I cannot forget visioning. Please, vision. That's the favorite thing. And what visioning is an art, a science, a devotion. What visioning does is it puts us in the factory where things are being made that then show up in this dimension. Okay, so visioning is said to be because the reason why it works is because the imagination is actually mommy God's workplace. That's her factory, the imagination. I know we got tricked out of it, but children understand that since they can't overpower the big people around them, that their power is in their wishes, and they believe in themselves and their power. And that was us. That was us before somebody convinced us that that wasn't true. So what is actually happening is your subconscious and your unconscious and your superconscious, they are doing things that are then having things show up. And you already know this because you think of people and then they call you, you whatever, fear something, and then it happens, about these things. So what we're going to do, we're going to use that and actually participate with the divine in bringing things, not necessarily bringing things, because yes, we're gonna yes, bringing things, but this is not all about manifestation. See, when elders start to understand that when they practice certain things, what it does is it tunes their vibration, and then they feel internally at peace and they feel content within, and then that puts them in the best place for their bliss to just slide into to their experience. So they stop being in it for the purpose of the manifestation, because that's like kind of like manipulating, and so that's what we do when we're young. But then when we are in our wisdom, we realize that the true manifestation is feeling at ease. Nothing that manifests is more important than feeling content. What? So practicing visioning. So I recommend that you put yourself in a state akin to sleep, which is what Neville Goddard says. And what that means is just sit and relax. You could do it right before you go to bed, but you can also do it at any point in the day. But right before you go to bed is a great moment, because then you're sliding into the whole realm of your subconscious which is a pure potent, vast realm of potentiality for your visioning. So just in your visioning, you take yourself to a scene that is your desired scene. And it could be things happening there that you that is your hopes and dreams, that is wonderful. And then being that this is a moment for us to do something far reaching, it could be something that is for the collective, that is a scene that that implies that we are all at peace and enjoy heaven on earth, Shangri-La, right? And then you just notice all of the details of being there, the sounds, the smells, the feel, and your job is to relate to that scene as though it is real, period. It's what's true, it's what's so. And then go about your life as though it were so. Who would I be if that were so? How would I be operating if that were so? What would I be saying? What might I be eating? What might I be, right? Okay, so that's visioning. And then finally something came. Oh, finally, like color. I thought I was gonna be in these 5 books I have right here, and I haven't looked in there, not in there one of these books. But something about so we talked about smoky quartz. That's Baba Ogun's crystal. If you want to work with that, again, that could be included like with you in your bath that you take. And by bath I mean, because of the Mars in this part, you in a hot bath, not and not that that a spiritual bath that is like a sprinkle bath or something of the kind is not a good idea. But what we don't want to do is act like the heat of this influence is not there and just try to do all kind of cool stuff over it. Like, we don't have to do that. Let's work with the energies as they are presenting themselves. There are like 5 things that are in the sign of Mars, for goodness sakes. Mars is sexuality, it's primal sexuality, it's passion, it's action, it's the will, it's masculine, it's hot, it's dry. Right? Like, let's do something with that. Let's not try to shove all of that under a totally cool veneer and expect that not to erupt somewhere else. And we'd be like, well, where did that come from? Let's make good, let's be good, what is that word called? Let's be good alchemists. Let's give the elements, let's honor the elements in their form and work with them and not try to get them to not be what they are, right? So Baba Ogun, we got smoky quartz, hematite, obsidian, onyx, granite. And then also in terms of herbs, if you want to have some, so making your teas and making your things, also this speaks to the divine masculine in our lives and in us. That's what Mars really is that. So this is a great moment but also so it's like a great moment to honor, because we have masculine people in our bloodlines that have been champions for the divine feminine. And so we want to really, really honor them, because the thing is, the masculine is in its right place when it's honoring the feminine. Otherwise, what you doing? So so finding them in the bloodline, or honoring the ones that are here among us, this would be a moment to do that. And ones that are not abusing their power, that is, I mean, I know it's like, wow, okay, we want to celebrate that, but look at our bloodlines. They are riddled with those people who are masculine, male men that have abused so many of the people in the bloodline. So, but herbs, so eucalyptus and basil and wild mint, tobacco, snake plant, ivy, holly, pine, saps of trees. These are good things to work with this Ogun energy, with the yes, and then root veggies also, and then I guess maybe that. I feel like that is that. Yes. I thought of root chakra with respect to Mars. However, I was corrected because Saturn is very much root chakra, and so I get that. And so it's more like the chakra that is now. So I got two different schools of thought happening here. And sorry, y'all, I thought I was going to be done at 8:30. I think some people have left, do what you must, please. Um, so uh so I thought of root, but it was like, okay, it's not root. And but then our sister from opening to spirit, we all know this, our sister, she talks about it as the solar plexus chakra. I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense with the heat, with the fire. That makes sense. And so and and so that is, yeah, so the planet Mars, the solar plexus. And so the color to work with is yellow. And so I love that. The color to work with is yellow, and the seed sound is Ram. So it's like if you wanted to be saying some chanting, it'd be Ram, Ram, Ram. It's that one. And then uh oh yeah, so it's so another one of the deities involved here, that so says this sister, is Hathor. It's Ra, Hathor, Ogun, and Shango. So Hathor, it really is Het Heru, which is also Oshun. So hooray, yeah, yeah, yo. So working with our mother. Yeah, yeah, Oshun. So that in that case, it's working with honey, um, working with things like pineapple, mango. She loves those. And rose and honeysuckle and amber. These are some things that you can work with tomorrow during this time. And also but then also Kali, also goddess Kali. And so we know goddess Kali. I mean, she didn't come to play. And it's interesting that that some say we're coming out of the Kali Yuga, which is the age of Kali, but some say it's still ending. So, and I think it's interesting that no one's talked about Kali, that the fact that we're in her age until the age was ending. I'm like, that would have been nice to know, so we could work with her while she's been doing all this that she has been doing, because that's where so much of this she's working. She's working. She's working on destroying stuff that can no longer stand. And so I'm loving that. And then from Europe, goddess Bridget, and I work with her because I have somebody Irish in my bloodline. And so Goddess Bridget is someone I work with. And so to work with, a lot of us that look like me have somebody Irish somewhere. And so if you're one of those people, don't ignore your people. You could work with Bridget, and you can offer like mead, or you can have mead, uh like you and your whatever, you can have mead, you can put mead on your altar, you like whatever, something like that can be honoring the connection with her. And with that, I think that's it for, oh, and then another resource would say that that Ogun deals with the heart chakra. Now that's like another thing. So the heart, and I thought it was interesting that it talked about uh sandalwood is good for Yeye Oshun. Is that what you're saying, Levita? Mama Levita? Yes, yep. Sandalwood is also one of her things. Yes, yep. Thank you for that. So Baba Ogun with the heart. What I thought was wonderful about this resource. Many of you probably have this book. This is a great fundamental book for the Orishas. And so he says, develop a higher sense of awareness and sensitivity, emphasize a sense of purity, innocence, and magnetism. Reflect upon inner sounds, strive to become independent and self-emanating, Strive to attain wisdom and inner strength, and seek to control the breathing and heart rate. That's wonderful, inner regularity. Purity of relationships comes through the inner balancing of male and female energies. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so that I will I will close there and say oh, I wanted to kind of vibration and harmonics, just do something. I think it's wise to do something regarding sound, your voice, your instrument, chanting, something like that. Yep, singing bowl. Thank you so much, Mama Levita. That one happening right here. And singing bowl, yep, that's really amazing, because then with Ogun being metal, so then having it be a metal instrument would be this, and cymbals also, the chime cymbals. But yeah, and any other thing that your Ori and that comes to you in your intuition, as a way to honor what's happening tomorrow. And I just really thank you all for joining this class today, and for obliging my desire to just kind of talk and teach and discuss about this. I just could not find a way. Thank you. I could not find a way for like the videos and stuff on little platforms. I couldn't find a way for that. It just didn't satiate what wanted to come through me and wanted to pour to people. It wanted it to be a more full experience. And thank you all so much. Does anyone want to share anything as we close? Please feel free. I would love to hear from you, but also not mandatory.
I would say this was wonderful, very informative. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
I got lots of notes.
You do have lots of notes. I was looking over there. I was like, she is getting an A+++++.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dawn, my Dawn. All right. What else? Dr. My Dawn. Yeah, we'll just say it like that.
Mama,
Anything?
you are such
Mhm.
all the love, all the emotion that you can
Uh-oh, Mama. Wait a minute, Mama. You sound kind of, oh no, Mama, you sound kind of warped. Even more so right now. I want us to hear. Mama, you there? Uh-oh, Mama Ayana. Oh, you're probably working on your audio. I don't know what happened. Anyone else want to share anything while Mama Ayana gets her audio together? Okay. Well, and Mama Ayana, I'm waiting for you because you're not on mute, but I'm not hearing you though. Oh, you are so very welcome. Thank you for attending from the Angieverse of the two. Mama Ayana. Oh man, maybe her sound totally went out. Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. You know how the technology.
No
I
problem.
just wanted to thank you, precious one, for all that you did, how you served. Thank you for this powerful session. I've learned a lot too. We're always open and receptive to learn more. There's always more to go, more to go, more to go. So thank you so much. Thank you for all the beautiful sisters who attended. And thank you for remembering me. I just thought I happened to pick up my phone and saw that you had messaged her. So thank you for remembering me and including me.
Of course. Oh, of course, Mama. I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you for just being here and for being your, your amazing guardian, nurturing, powerful elder self.
Well, it takes one to know one, right? I'll
You
need that. Oh,
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh my goodness. I will say a thank you that I am okay. I'm gonna just say thank you. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna just say thank you. Thank you, Mama. Okay, if all hearts and minds are clear, then I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. And enjoy the celestial events tomorrow, and yes, and I look forward to our individual and collective heaven on earths that we are about building. Yes. Okay. Yay. Okay. All right. Peace, everybody.
Please.
Peace.
Peace.